Some of my friends here, like, they rob people and they hurt people and they drink up their money instead of feeding their kids. Like, they're bad people, like by any sort of measure of character. So one of the questions is, that I struggle with is it possible to love somebody and have contempt for them at the same time? A couple years ago, we were working on this house for a friend of ours, a woman and her daughter. I mean, they're just a classic, like, you know, welfare mom, and she's got 2 older kids that are in jail, and the little girl's full of learning disabilities and behavior problems, and like the mom is like the worst mom you ever want to see. Like, she's your nightmare, like verbally abusive, you know, physically abusive, like drinks up money, doesn't, you know, she's a mess. But they're friends of ours. Right before the end of the school year last year, the girl comes to my house at 7 in the morning, which she often does because my kids, they all ride to school together. But she shows up at 7 with the mom, and I open the door and say, "What are you doing here?" And mom says, "Well, you know, Tanya got raped in the building last night." She's 13. And she's like, "I thought you ought to know." So like all of a sudden you're down at the hospital, you're doing the rape kit, you're with the cops, you're doing the whole thing. I mean, that's our day. And then at the end of the day, what are you gonna do? Take her back to this apartment? And it was like she lives in this apartment building where 4 abandoned apartments, and her and her mom on the 3rd floor. Some guy had caught her at 6 at night, dragged her in an empty apartment, worked her over, an older guy. So they can't go back there. So he said, "Well, you come stay at our place." But the mom won't come because she got to go back to the apartment to protect the TV set. Your daughter just got raped, but you're gonna protect your TV set. So the girl comes and stays with us, and all week long we're doing, you know, rape crisis centers and all that kind of stuff. Cops. And finally, about midweek, we have to do one of these interview things that they do when a minor gets raped. They do a very sensitive counselor takes you through the interview to tell you what happened, and they videotape it like we're doing here, so the kid doesn't have to testify if it ever comes into court. They can play the tape. So the morning we're supposed to do that, the girl gets ready and we go to pick up the mom at the apartment, and she's furious at us because we're late, and she's cursing and yelling at us and all this stuff. And I said, "What are you so upset at?" She said, she said, "You know, I need to be back here by noon because I got a Section 8 appointment." Section 8 is federal subsidized housing. She's like, "If I lose my voucher, you know, and they're moving me out of this building now because of this thing," and I said, "Look, we're not gonna be back by 12. This is gonna take us all day." I said, "Give me the phone, you know, give me the number. I'll call the guy and I'll move the appointment." You know, because I can do that kind of thing, like, because I know how to talk to people on the phone. So I move the appointment, I hang up, and I say, "Hey, we're fine." But she won't stop screaming. She's like, "You're always late." And finally I said, "Look, what are you mad at me for? I didn't do anything wrong. And we're fine." And she goes, "I'm not mad at you. I'm mad at that little bitch in the back seat." And she points to the girl and she goes, "If she hadn't had to go out and get herself raped, I wouldn't have to be moving in the first place." She's totally, you know. And she's blaming the kid. So I pull my car over because I'm so furious. I just pull the car over, put it in park, turn to her and say, "Shut up." I said, "You shut up, you stupid idiot. You shut your mouth. I never want to hear that crap out of you again." She's a little girl. I said, "There's mad at her. There's nobody to be mad at in this whole world except one guy, and he's not here." I said, "She's a little girl. She's allowed to go out at 6 o'clock at night and come home without worrying about getting raped. It's not," and I looked at the girl, I said, "Hey, Tanya, it's not your fault. She's an idiot. Now, I know you're not supposed to curse out and call people idiots in ministry, but like, I just felt like somebody needed to let the little girl know, you know, it's not you." Because this girl's been through, I mean, and not just this rape, I mean, their whole life has been a nightmare. So we ride on to the place. The nurse takes the kid into the back room, the counselor takes them in for the interview. And I'm sitting in the waiting room with the mom, Terry. And she's furious at me, I'm furious at her. We just sit there in silence it's gonna take about 3 hours. About an hour and a half into it, it dawns on me. And I look up at her and I say, "Terry, this happened to you, didn't it?" She looks up and says, "Yeah, 3 times. First time I was 7, second time I was 9, third time I was 19. and they put me in the hospital for 3 months. There was 3 guys. And so all of a sudden it dawns on you like, this whole, why is she so angry? Why is she so mean? Well, like, this whole experience is dredging up for her what happened to her. And then, you know, the other thing is like all these people are fussing all over her daughter. You know, everybody's making a big deal about it. I said, Terry, when this happened to you, I said, who helped you? Who was there for you? And she looks at me just cold as you can be and she says, I'm telling you. Like, I don't know what you do with that. You know, she told no one. There was nobody for her. And here, so in the midst of all this, you know, I don't know what you do with that. I mean, we talk some, I listen, but how do you undo 50 years of brokenness and horror? And so when the day's over, drop the girl off at my place. I at least know that. Drop her off first. Take mom back to the apartment, walk her up to the door. And I just looked at her and said, look, I'm sorry I screamed at you. I'm sorry for all of this. This is a bad day. We're having a bad week. We're having a bad time here. So maybe tomorrow will be better. I gotta go. As I'm walking out the door, she says, Bart, what? What about my hug? Because you know, we don't know how to help anybody here, so we hug everybody because that's what you know how to do. But I don't want to hug her. I'm disgusted by her. She's a piece of garbage as far as I'm feeling. But okay, so I go back and I give her a half-hearted hug, turn and walk away again. She goes, Bart, what? I love you. Which is significant primarily because I've never heard her say I love you to anyone. I know for a fact she's never said it to her daughter, because her daughter cries about that to me and talks about it in counseling and stuff. Like it's, I don't even know what she means by that. I love you. Again, like, I wish I could say, like, can I turn and I said, I love you too. I just like, fine, whatever, I gotta go. I get about halfway home and it hits me, this Bible, you know, walking down the street, it hits me. This Bible verse, 1 John 4, says, Beloved, let us love one another, for love comes from God. And all those who love are born of God and know God. He who does not love does not know God, for God is love. I'm thinking, oh, shit. If Terry loves me, then she's born of God. Then she knows God. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying like, she accepted Jesus as her personal Lord and Savior. Like, I don't know what she believes. She's still the worst. I mean, this is a year and a half ago. She's still the worst mother I've ever seen. Like, there's no big transformation in her life. She's a user from Jump Street. But she loves me on some level, whatever that means. And it gives me hope that on some level, it connects her to something. And so in the end, you sort of go like, I care about her. I hate her. I love her. I hold her in contempt. I'm trying to help her. I don't think she can be helped. The story doesn't end happy. I mean, I can tell you horror stories about these people. I still am in a relationship with both of them. But in the midst of the horror, there are these moments of where something seems to surface for a second, and you're like, maybe that's it. You know, if you ask me, like, is it worth it? I go like, I have no idea. I'm not sure at all. But there's something there.